Yeah, back to the chance with Big Boss Crypto. If you watched the video yesterday, you might notice that you hear a different voice today. Well, that's because Big Boss Brother number 2 is bringing you hot takes on where the market might move in the short term. And by short term, I mean the next 48 hours. Let's look at what information we got. But I want to present myself a bit. I've been trading crypto and forex for the last 2 years, and I'm gonna present to you more of the market updates, the short-term movements, and also how I trade. What tools do I use? What sources do I use? And I'm gonna explain to you how my system works and how you can become a profitable trader. The goal is to educate you on how you can use trading tools to become a profitable trader. Let's look at the information we got today. Alright, so I start off every week by looking at what news we might expect during the week that I trade. So Monday through Friday we'll expect some news, and you can go to forexfactory.com, which is completely free, and look at what news might come up this week. We got some news today actually from the US, the Financial Service PMI, which is the Purchasing Manager Index, and if it's above 50 it means the economy is expanding. And as you might know, the Fed, which is the Federal Reserve in America, the central bank, has been very hawkish lately, and they want to bring inflation down. So as you can see, the price PMI came above 50, which means the economy is still expanding, which means a higher pressure to the inflation. And if we look at the news tomorrow, we see that there are some interesting news, but not that many. But on Thursday, you'll see that Federal Chair Powell speaks, and he will present to you his stance on the economy and what the Federal Reserve might do to counter the inflation that's going on, and that impacts the price of Bitcoin and stocks, of course. And as you know, the dollar has been quite strong if you watched the yesterday's video, and they will keep bringing a higher pressure on inflation, which means high rates, which means that people will seek dollars and cash instead of assets like Bitcoin and the stocks. So let's find out what happens in the short term in terms of liquidations. And for liquidations, I use a site called Kingfisher, which is also completely free. All you have to do is to spin this top bottom here, and you will get coins probably. If you don't get them, you get a second chance every 2 hours. And when you get some coins, you can bring up the liquidation map, which is explaining to you where the liquidation points are in price. So we want to see what happens the next 48 hours, which means that price will probably move around $1,000 up or down. So we want to find where the market maker, which is the investment banks and the other banks that have a lot of capital, that provide us with the contracts for shorting or longing. And as you can see, we want to find a cluster in on the upside or on the downside to determine where the market maker might grab some money and become profitable. So as we see on the upper side from 19,900 up to approximately 20,500, we have a cluster of a couple of $1 million. And if you look on the downside from the current price, which is at 19,800, and the move to approximately 19,300, we have a little cluster of a couple of $1 million. So if we take a bigger picture approach, we can see that the cluster is bigger on the upside for liquidating longs. And we see that they can grab a lot of money up until 20,500, which is good information to have because you can see that the price will probably move to the upside and grab this liquidity until it goes the other way or keeps moving to grab this liquidity over here at 21,000. But we don't have to worry about that in the next 48 hours. We want to know if the price will move up or down to grab the nearest liquidity. So the market maker will become profitable, and we can use that information to place our own trades. Okay, so let's move on to the charts, which is the most interesting thing to look at when trading. And if you want to trade for the next 48 hours, I suggest that you look at the 4-hour time frame or the 1-hour time frame, because that is where you can determine where the price might move in the semi-short term, which is the next couple of days. And as you can see, we've been trading in a range from approximately 20,500 to 19,500 for the last couple of days. And that's interesting information to know, because if we are in a range, that means we're preparing for something. And I want you, as a first exercise, to mark off every nearest half and whole number. So from 19,500 or even to 19,000 and 20,000 and 20,500. That will give you some information to see if we are in a range, which we clearly are in the last couple of days. And you can also see how the price has been contained in this range. Has it been above or below a whole number? Most of the time or not. As we can see here, most of the last couple of days we've been on the downside, which means if you are a market maker or a trader, you want to build your longs at the bottom so that you can make the most profit. And vice versa, if you want to play some shorts, you want to do it on a as high number as possible to get the most profit. And if we look, yeah, we've been trading up and down, as you can see. But I would say most of the time we've been trading below 20,000. And we also received the information earlier from Kingfisher that the liquidation points are mostly concentrated around 20,000 to 20,500. Okay, so that means we have some interesting liquidation points up here at 20,500 to 20,600. And if you take a closer look, one would suggest that we are forming a double bottom here at the 4-hour time frame if we break the 20,000 zone. So what needs to happen to take the liquidity on the upper side? We need to break the 20,000 zone, close above here on the 4-hour time frame. Would suggest that the price will move up to these points. Okay, so we have that information. Let's look at the 1-hour time frame and see if we can get some more information from what's been going on. And as you can see, we have been containing price more often than not below the 20,000 zone. And we can see that we have big volume candles on the upside. And by big volume candles means the market maker is preparing to go long or short, which means there's an imbalance in the chart in the order book. And that suggests that price will move there eventually. I will talk more about that in the trading series that we'll display later on. So please subscribe, like and share the video, and we will come out with an explanation of how you can use these tools. If we look at the short term, even on the 15-minute time frame, you get more information, which is always good to look at the shorter term price action on where the price might move the next couple of minutes and hours, so that you get a clear information on where you can start trading, from which point and where to place your orders. Okay, one would suggest that we have a wick here, which means price has been trading with a big delta, which means a big imbalance in the order book. So what probably might happen is that the price will touch this point again from 19,600 to 19,500 and then move away from there to recover the order book here, to fill the orders, and then move away from there, either to the upside or to the downside. So wait for the close above or below this zone to place your orders long or short. Okay, so to conclude the video, we have to look at the information we have and also make some conclusion from it, right? Yeah, so we have a bigger liquidation cluster to the upside rather than to the downside in the near term. So from 20k to 20.5k, we have more money to be grabbed by the market maker than rather to the downside. And market makers have been keeping the price on the downside of the range for a longer period, which also uh, tends to suggest that market makers are building their longs to move price higher in the near term. Also, we have to keep in mind that we've been forming a bear flag on the bigger time frame, which indicates more movement to the downside in the medium time frame. So for the next couple of weeks, we might see that price tends to go up high to 20.5 and then the price might reverse down lower than 19k, which is a possible scenario to keep in mind. But we have to look at what happens in the near term so we can determine if that's a possible scenario or not. Also, we have an overall bearish macro environment. Powell will speak on Thursday, so volatility is coming. It's for certain. I suggest that you don't trade during his speech, but it's up to you. And I also have to add that none of this is financial advice. It is all for educational and entertaining purposes. So do whatever you want to do and see you next time. Bye.